Hello everybody, this is Marty, and this is sailing vessel Kudos, a Hans Christian 38T, heavy blue water cruiser, full keel, tipping the scales at 43,000 pounds in cruising trim. Okay, morning here in Port Townsend, anchored up. I'm going to make water real quick, and not real quick, it takes a little bit, but anyways, I'm going to make water, and then I'll go into the marina. Typically you don't want to make water in the marina in case there's any kind of a fuel spill or any oil or anything like that in the water. It'll destroy the membranes. So anyways, some of you have asked how the system works. This is a very, very basic system. It's not automatic. I got to switch all the valves and everything all myself. But anyways, we turn the seacock to supply water to the Watermaker. Otherwise it supplies water to the washdown hose up on the deck or the head toilet. So we flip that up, and then we got to flip this valve here so it's drawn from seawater. Then this pump right here is a low pressure pump that supplies water over here to the high pressure pump. So we're going to turn that on, and the gauge is indicating that we got pressure. And at that point we have two different ways. There's another valve back here that goes to a sample hose, and then the other way that valve goes is to the tanks. So check the oil in the Watermaker first. The membranes are inside these housings. I don't know if you can see those back in there. That's what's inside them. The water does go through a 5 micron pre-filter first, just to take the big chunks out, and then from there, when it goes through the membranes, it's filters out everything, and I do mean everything. There's no... They say you could actually make drinking water out of toilet water with this system. This is a Parker Village Marine LTM 500, so it has the double membranes. It produces about 30 gallons an hour. So anyways, we got our supply water coming in. I turn on the pump, high pressure pump, and then we see that there's nothing on the valve here. Outside of the boat is the discharge, and as we turn this valve, it starts increasing pressure, and it's up to about 800 psi. And at this point, since it's to the sample hose, we now have water coming out the hose, and we need to run it for a little bit. I run it here in the sink. Here's my total dissolved solids tester, and we just take a cup, rinse it out, because if there's any dust or anything in it, that'll read. So we go ahead and fill the cup up. And at first it usually doesn't test that great. You let it run for a little bit, kind of, because it's been sitting for 5 days. And at this point, you take the little tester, stick it down in the water, and there we are. 172 parts per million. That'll most likely get better as it runs, but anything under 500 is acceptable. And I think if you take one of those little testers, they're really cheap, and test your water at home. Mine in Kelso, Washington, tested at about 500. So this is much purer, cleaner water than what you get on your city tap water. After you get on record that you got good clean water, then you take that sample hose and I fill a 5-gallon jug. At the end of the process, I will take that jug of clean, pure water and go back over here, and I have a hose where I can flush the system. So good, fresh, clean water sits around the outside of the membranes for the next 3 to 5 days. Okay, at this point, we'll shut the switch off. We're going to turn the valve over so it starts filling the tanks and turn the switch back on. And that's all she wrote. Come up top side, and you can see the reject water, the stuff that does not go through the membranes, is out here. That's all the pollutants, the salt, everything. So that's how I fill my tanks. I run it about every 3 to 5 days, whether I need to or not, because you have to keep the membranes fresh. And that's what I'm doing right now, running it. I don't need to, I've got plenty of water, but it's just a matter of keeping this thing going. And Port Townsend Marina is right in front of me. That's where I'm going. Beautiful area. Very calm morning, very calm night. I would like that, but yeah. Anyways, making water. And when the tanks are full, that 5 gallons of that I made originally, I hook another hose in here up, switch a couple of valves, goes through a 1/2 micron carbon filter and gets pumped through the membranes, so there's nothing but good, pure Watermaker water in the membranes. And then once that's done, you shut the system down, and that's good for another 3 to 5 days. Well, first, before heading home, I decided to run into Port Townsend to the grocery store and load up on groceries. Had a fun time getting all that on the bike. And here it's showing I'm heading south. There's a riptide there coming into Port Ludlow. Never been there before. Spent the night there. Just hanging out. And the next morning continued south. There's Mount Baker in the distance. Got a little snow on it. And this is where they got really creative with naming something. It's called Point No Point. Anyways, continuing south, here's the Seattle skyline. You can kind of make out the Space Needle there. And then I took a turn and went up towards Keyport and Poulsbo. Had to go underneath this bridge. All the charts said 75-foot height, and I'm 62 feet, so technically, yeah, should fit. It's still scary. It looks from below like you're going to hit. It obviously didn't, but in real life it's a lot closer, or it looks closer than it really is. Anyways, Olympic Mountains in the distance, coming by Keyport, which is a naval base. A buddy of mine was stationed there back in the early 80s. And then there's a boat here, small ship. They do torpedo test firing and testing, I guess. So that's what they did up there when he was stationed there too. There's a better shot of it. Now I'm coming into Poulsbo, anchored up. Beautiful night, full moon out. And the next morning went on in, took the dinghy ashore, went into Poulsbo, walked around for a while, and then I seen this, an old Viking sailing ship somebody's built. Pretty cool. Looks like really good craftsmanship. It's a pretty good sized boat. And buzzed around in the dinghy, kind of looking at that. Then I headed back out. On my way back north, I decided not to go south any farther. The ship was going by, and check out the wake that puppy's putting out. Small boat might be in trouble with that one. Anyways. All right, well, I think I got everything secured and in place where it's not going to go anywhere. Made the decision to start heading towards home, putting the pan fiddles on the stove so the pan doesn't fly everywhere. Oops. Strap the microwave in. And I think I've already got the valve in the head switched for the deck hose, but there, I'll turn it on. Got a lot of stuff when I get home that I'm going to take out of the boat that I just flat don't need. That igloo ice chest draws way too much power, and I was way too optimistic about the power output of the solar before I'd left on this trip, but that's kind of what this trip was, is a shakedown cruise and figure things out. But anyways, got my laptop with OpenCPN on it, charting software that you can actually download satellite images and put them onto the charts. A lot of times when you're in other countries, especially like South Pacific and stuff, a lot of the charts aren't very accurate, so you can use Google Earth, ArcGIS, Bing, some of those other outfits that do the satellite, and superimpose them basically on a chart and use that for navigation. Although I do have chart plotter and all that going, but like I said, some of the official charts don't work. And get my tablet going here. This thing drives me nuts. It's like a magic combination. There it goes. Anyways, everything looks good. Turn on the remote for the VHF radio. Chart plotter's on. And what I'm doing is I am in Port Townsend and I am heading for Port Angeles. There's a storm coming in right now. They've got small craft advisory and stuff going on. I'm going to keep the dinghy on the back just in case I need it when I get to Port Angeles, but I will more than likely put the dinghy once I get there, and then hopefully the weather will lie down in a little bit and I can head for Nia Bay. The plan right now, if the weather continues to hold out like they're forecasting at least, is this system's going to blow through today and tomorrow, and then Tuesday we got a big lull. Actually, it's going to be probably the first half of the trip for heading south along the Washington coast is probably going to be okay. I'll be able to sail. The second half, it looks like on Wednesday, for instance, winds dropping clear down to 5 knots, so that won't even be enough to even bother with, so I'll have to motor the rest of the way. But anyways, I'm going to get up the anchor right now. I've got out about 250 feet of anchor chain. It's a little over 50 feet deep here, and it's 50 feet deep all the way to that rock wall, so it you got to have some chain. It's one thing I can tell people, that if they're coming up into this area, I have 335 feet of chain on board, and I'm glad I do. Another Hans Christian that I was talking to earlier had 150 feet on his boat, like this one originally did when I got it. And for up here, that's not enough. I mean, you could use chain and then rope, but I think you'd be better off with all chain. It's just a better way to go. Nice calm morning. It's hard to believe that we got a storm hitting. Actually, the ocean is pretty nasty right now. I think even the Straits of Juan de Fuca today and tomorrow out at the west end, I think, are 12-foot seas. So right there, I don't want to play in that if I don't have to. It's just to be fun. I think that's one of the things old Miss Lynn Parday, her and Larry traveled the world pretty much most of their lives. They're some of the most renowned heavy weather sailors there is, and they did it in very small boats, much smaller than this one. Like the big boat was like 32 feet or something like that. But that's one of their famous mottos, is keep doing it as long as it's fun. And right now, yeah, it's fun. I have to admit, I wish I had even a friend with me. Not necessarily, you know, a girlfriend would be great, but can't have everything. But I do wish I had company. That would be nice. But I'm doing all right. I'm used to being alone. One of the reasons why I bought this anchor, one, it fits the bowsprit very well, like it was made for it, and that's what they did. Rocknum built them to fit bowsprits. But Steve Panape, I think that's how you say his boat's name. He does a YouTube channel and he does anchor testing. And the Rocknum Vulcan has come out one of the very top, if not the top anchor in all of his testing. His videos are pretty cool. He attaches a camera harness to the anchor so you can actually watch it. All of his testing's been up here in the Puget Sound area. Multiple bottoms, mud, sand, cobblestone rock, you name it, he's tried it. And he does some pretty serious testing that a normal boat would never put those kind of strains and stuff on an anchor. So, pretty interesting stuff. But he's definitely one of the reasons why I bought this anchor. And there's the swivel. And there's the anchor with a bunch of mud on it. Oh yeah. Yuck. That actually looks like mud. Usually it's some gray crap that comes up. Oh, this is just getting ridiculous. Just have one glob on there. It's like cement or something. Let's see. Oh yeah, I think what it is just air going over the top of that area. Maybe. I think she's rinsed. Dump it a little bit one more time, make sure. Now, if I can just get it up to the swivel. This sometimes is easier than fighting with it. Of course, the swivel's full of mud right now, so. And I went too far. There, we're in line. There we go. That piece of seaweed on there. Now we'll go down and use this other button because I can gently bring it up there. And since we are thinking about maybe some stormy weather, I'll go ahead and button the cover on my generator up. Keep the spray off of it anyways. Hopefully make it last a little longer. And come back here and get out of here. See what the ferry's doing. Well, even though I've only got 2.4 knots of wind here, obviously the sails aren't up again. There's definitely a lump on it. Not, I'm going to say, there's an occasional 3-footer rolling through, but definitely a little bit of a lump from the wind in the ocean. San Juans are up that way. Well, you kind of see them starting to appear in the fog, or come out of the fog there. I think that's Lopez Island. The weather buoy out there, yellow. I think it's a weather buoy anyways. But anyways, just motoring along, heading for Port Angeles. Nice comfortable ride. Well, I made it to Port Angeles. I was planning on docking at the city docks, but I unfortunately forgot they take them out for the winter time. I believe of the 1st of September or something like that. So I ended up anchoring out, and actually it ended up being a very uncomfortable night because the wind started howling out of the northeast up in the San Juan Islands, and it was putting about a 4-foot swell into the anchorage there, and of course with no wind where I was at, the boat sits sideways to it. So waited till daylight and got the heck out of there. Heading for Nia Bay, and stay there, fuel up, and then the next morning I'll head out and head down the coast for home.